You got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, my sidekick. What's poppin', Berk? How you feeling today?
Well, Conrad, as you can see by the shimmering lights behind me, I've moved on from Uzbekistan.
Oh, wow. What's going on now?
Moving up in the world?
Yeah, I've made it to the city. I'm not sure what city. Matter of fact, I
was about to ask you, what cities are in Uzbekistan?
Yeah, I was going to say, Berk, do you know what the capital of Uzbekistan is?
No. And,
neither do I.
That's kind of the other problem is I don't even know where to go with this live because I don't know what borders Uzbekistan that would even be a city. Let's pretend it's Egypt. I don't know. I mean, but it's not about me. Yeah, it's not about me. It's not about the Cairo shimmering lights behind me. We're joined by two very special guests today. CEO of the WPT, Adam Pliska, and the poker room manager of the Wynn, Ryan Beauregard, which I hope I pronounced that right. Did I get that?
Pretty close. Beauregard.
Beauregard. There you go.
Beauregard.
Welcome, guys.
So many vowels, man. So many vowels. You know, tough on guys like me.
That's no lie.
Appreciate you guys coming in today, and this couldn't come at a better time, as I believe last week you finally put out the schedule for the WPT Winter Championship, as well as a very special announcement that came out, I think, yesterday. With a pretty marquee event added to this schedule. Let's just jump right in and talk about that first and foremost. So you guys are throwing a $5 million free roll. Where did this come from?
Yeah, so as you know, we've been trying to do over the last few years just things that just kind of keep pushing the boundaries. You know, we've done the first thing is bringing the WPT Championship of the Wynn. I think that was I think most people agree that that was a good decision, and we're happy with that. And last year we did the $40 million guarantee. This year we have we're building a new sweepstakes site, which is a WPT Gold, and in conjunction with that promotion, we're going to have the biggest free roll of all time, which is a $5 million free roll. Wow. In which first place, someone will have put in $0, and first place they will go away another WPT millionaire.
Wow,
that's so cool.
You know,
yes. Well, if you think about it, last year we were a little short on the guarantee, and so you know, and strange enough, I kind of feel like it. Like last year, you're stressing, are you going to make it? Whatever it is. This year, we kind of know we're going to be just losing the money, so yeah, I don't know. It's like, I'm taking it now.
So that's so great. So you guys just basically relieved no stress.
Yeah,
we're like, hey, we won't cap this.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to be honest. There's stress. A few months back now, when this whole started coming around, they said, hey, we want to run a free roll for Club WPT Gold. You know, so my first question was, okay, what's that? So they explained it to me. And then I said, okay, you know, how many players are you thinking? You know, a couple hundred? And they said, no, 2,000. Right? And I went, really? Like, that's like every table we have. So yeah, we're basically shut down. We're going to run a monster free roll, the biggest likely in history, definitely by prize pool. But yeah, so the stress is going to come in running 2,000 players through in a day and a half.
Well, you get
2 days.
all the stress. I mean, you got you got to coordinate all, you know, for 20-some days. So.
Lots of moving parts. I'm really excited about this whole schedule.
How do we get in?
There are different ways. What's Berk?
Yep.
Okay. I was making sure we didn't. I thought we lost you there.
I was.
So, but you asked how you got in. I will tell you this because my job to tell you, which is, go to ClubWPTGold.com and sign up. All we're looking for is everybody. We want everybody in the community to get, sign up, get an account, and then they'll be eligible for so many raffles and giveaways and content. You'll see a bunch of the WPT influencers or ambassadors giving out stuff. But somebody told me last week that if we start this week, it's something like we have to give out a seat an hour. So there's going to be there's going to be a lot of there's definitely a lot to give away. A great chance to get in there. But yeah, this should be fun.
I want in. I'm in.
So pulling at that thread a little bit of WPT Club WPT Gold, is this the old version of Club WPT, or is this a completely separate entity?
Yeah, so this is new, and this will be far more robust in terms of what's offered on there. Ultimately, Club WPT exists for those people who want a subscription platform. It's pay, same price every month. The prices are kind of set. Here, you'll pay as you go. A lot of simulating a lot of cash. There's cash and prizes that are that pay out, and we're going to have a lot more qualifiers into WPT events. Obviously, this is a big one where this happens. But even if you look at this free roll, 100 of those seats of the 5 million are going to go into the WPT Championship. So it's going to be. This is going to allow us to do some great things, and we're happy we can put this into put it in the community.
So I'm really excited about this because I see this being such a big growth opportunity for to be a satellite hub to the WPT. I think that it's going to crush the market for that.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think for years, it's our 2 decades or 21 years for me, and the first 2 decades it was the frustration of the qualifiers, why can't we just get those qualifiers? And you've seen it. Wynn's just done such a great job at qualifying so many people into these events, and they just Ryan and his staff just run such a great tournament. But in addition, we had Club WPT and WPT Gold, and now this. And so you're looking, at north of 1,000 qualifiers coming into the WPT festival, at some point of time.
That's so awesome.
While we're talking about the Club WPT Gold, help us, help me better convey to the audience how this differentiates from Club WPT. I know you said that the previous Club WPT, which still exists, is a subscription model, and I believe that it's a lot of prizes that you can win as far as getting into the WPT primes, some main events, things of that nature. This is a totally different platform, though. This is kind of mirroring what we see Global Poker utilize with the sweepstakes model, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. And with the addition that because we have the WPT Tour, we can incorporate a lot more of those things in WPT special events and things in it. But players essentially will buy WPT gold coins that allow them to play for free play on there. But they'll get a certain amount of sweeps coins that they can play with that, and they can put in the as they want, as much as they want, and be some limits, but pretty much put in as what they want, and have those cash outs and being able to get cash out with prizes. So what we're doing here, and I think this is probably important to just point out, is we're not saying that this is all ready. What we're trying to do is actually we want to bring back. We just want to make sure that that as we do online sweeps poker, that we're bringing back poker in a way that the player base here in the U.S. really wants. And so what we're using this opportunity is to get feedback. We're going to be asking a lot of people, what do they want? What do we want to see on this platform? And we're going to be designing it together. And I think that's part of the reason why I think this is so special, because this isn't, hey, come in, make a deposit, then you're going to get entered into a free roll. This is literally just sign up help us do this together, and let's celebrate this with this historic free roll.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know you guys are still a little ways away from launch, but the plan is, I believe, sometime in Q1, you guys are going to become available with a full rollout to the United States, followed shortly thereafter to Canada. Do you know much about the behind the scenes, like what goes on behind the curtain as far as like KYC, security, things of that nature? I know that's been a really big talking point as of late whenever we're speaking about online poker.
Yeah. I mean, I think what we've seen, Club WPT was, is very important that we got the trust of our consumer base, and also with this, it's the same thing. We, as we partner with some of the best technology, and to make sure that the safety is of number one concern, and that is again, why it's so important that we kind of use this kind of period, this kind of talking period to talk through that. But that will be absolutely, right at the forefront, and also just making sure that people get the best experience that we can, since we're building, have technology that's building. It allows us to do this and do it together. So you're not going to see is day one, it's a rollout and everything is done. This is going to be an iterative process, and right now, just getting everybody in there, that's the goal.
Seems great. Super exciting. Obviously, I think America is ready to have some options. It was really exciting when we finally got regulated online poker roughly 10 years ago, and that's kind of come to a bit of a standstill with all the lobbying and states not wanting to intermingle and things of that nature. So hopefully this becomes a viable opportunity for coast to coast play, if nothing else, for you guys to potentially just have a really fully functional satellite hub where we can start to see the live tour flourish back the way that it used to, and not that it's not flourishing now, but like the early 2000s where 10Ks were getting record setting numbers, and we were seeing 2-3 million up top, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's exactly what we're looking forward to. And I think that players trust the World Poker Tour, and they know we're here, and they know we're responsible to them. And so it's a big step for the World Poker Tour, but definitely has its benefits, like it's as it's allows us to tie it into the biggest event of the year, which is the WPT Championship and the festival. And we've the players have helped us grow that in such a significant way, and what Ryan has done there has been so significant that being able to do these very large things is great. It's great for poker. At the end of the day, I said last year, if $2.4 million is what it took to help build the ecology, then it's a small price to pay. Well, maybe it takes more, but we're happy to do so.
All right, let's jump into the WPT Championship. I think there's a lot to discuss here, but before we talk about the elephant in the room, which is kind of the war that WSOP has seemed to levy against that winter series, I'm interested to know, first and foremost, why the Wynn? The WPT Championship for the better part of a decade had many homes, ranging from Bellagio to the Borgata to Seminole Hard Rock in Florida, various buy-ins from 10K all the way up to 25K. What ultimately drove the decision of, we want it in Vegas, we want it at the Wynn, and we want it to be this massive festival, not just an end of the year tournament?
Yeah, so I'm going to give my perspective, then I'm going to throw it to Ryan, because this was really a joint. This is absolutely a joint effort. We had for a long time said, look, how do we step back and create something that has that extra effort that WPT tries to always make? I think players recognize that the World Poker Tour, we don't always hit our mark, but we try, and we try to add something special and make it more than just a poker event. And so we were thinking about, how do you grow this? How do you create this franchise that is special and it is really based on player experience, and making sure that this is the best tournament that possibly we could make. And where to have it, obviously Vegas is a natural choice, but then Wynn Resort is really so much of what we aspire to, right? It is classy, it is well run, it is player friendly, it is when you walk in, you feel like you've had an experience. And so we went out to make a pitch, and we went to set up a meeting with Ryan and team, and we came out to do our pitch. And funny enough, they basically said, we were thinking much along the same lines. And I think that's just characterized a relationship so much, which is we have thought so much in parallel about how to think about things and what is important. And sometimes what other people will think is important is probably not what we sit here and we think, hey, ultimately we want to make sure that people in the long term feel like, hey, they've created the best event experience possible.
Yeah, I mean, we were so fortunate that Adam and team just walked into the office because, as you guys know, because you play a lot of our events, over the course of the last 4, 5, 6 years, we've really tried to grow, and Win Millions and some other events in our series have really grown, but we were looking for that next level, and Adam and team walked in, and I just remember the question with my VP afterwards. He said, "Well, is it something we should do?" And I said, "Well, I'm not sure I really want to take it on, but yes, 100%. This is something we have to do, right? Because the WPT brand and the Wynn brand, they're so much alike, right? And Adam and the WPT and his whole team is such great promoters, and the brand is so well respected. And putting it together with our operations team, Ray and Andy and everybody that makes our events run so well, it was kind of the perfect fit. And year number one, we missed a little bit as far as it was just much bigger than we thought it was going to be, yeah. Right? We had planned for X amount of players, and then Y showed up, and we had 2-hour waits, and we learned from that last year and this year, and it's only going to get better, especially with the with the promotions and so forth behind it. It's only going to grow. Our goal is to just keep the experience and make it a seamless tournament, the best tournament in Vegas, if not the world, and we'll go from there.
And you know what I love about the Wynn is you go to the Wynn. That's all right. I was just saying, you go to the Wynn, and you feel like everyone wants to be there. Not just Ryan. Everyone down the line, they want to be there. You go to the front desk. They're asking you, how's the tournament or whatever it is. And that's something we aspire to at the World Poker Tour too, which is everyone is valuable. Everyone, if you're going to be a part of the team, you have to. We just don't have room for people who aren't fully engaged, and I think that helps a lot too, and I think players feel that.
Absolutely, we definitely do. I can tell you that 100%. I'm actually going to tell you, I wrote something down earlier, just a little bit of my thought. And I was I think the reason why the WPT and Wynn relationship works so well is because you guys are cut from the same cloth. You guys basically put players first, you listen, and you make changes very quickly and drastically, just for the better. So I think that's why it creates a lot of loyalty with the players, and we do see it. So we appreciate you for that. I want to say that.
Thanks, Conrad. I mean, look, I think it really just comes down to we all want to do it right? Mm-hmm. We know what right looks like. It looks like no red lines, and it looks like just a seamless transition. Everywhere we can have it. And if we swing and miss on one, and maybe we underestimate crowd size or something like that, our goal is to fix it for next time. Because look, I'm a player too, and I want a perfect tournament just like everybody else does. And to Adam's point about everybody caring. Specifically, of course, the whole property cares, especially when an event is so big. But it's so important for us and the Wynn team that, look, everybody that we have working these events, they truly care about, the player experience, and that the event runs as perfectly as we can make it run. And I think that's a testament to everybody that works at Wynn Poker. And I thank everybody because that's what makes it always successful, right? Yeah. This takes a massive amount of people, we don't have this many people 12 months out of the year. We have this many people, for 3 weeks. So yeah. it's tough to find, that crew, but everybody that we bring on, shares the same sentiment. And I think that's what makes it so great.
Also, and then from the people at the top of the Wynn, I mean, I think it's very easy to work with a group that doesn't have hubris, right? I mean, we're happy to say like, hey, we're making a decision, and when we're wrong, we're like, okay, that didn't work. And it just makes life so much easier. I mean, this has been an ideal partnership, and yeah, we're better for it and very grateful for it.
Awesome.
Talking a little bit more about that partnership, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the impetus between you guys joining force was based off of the success that the Wynn Championship itself had just a year prior. I'm not sure many people recall, but before the WPT Championship came, I believe the Wynn ran, I think, 2 separate championships, if I'm not mistaken, where there were big 10K buy-ins, massive fields. Well over $1.5 million the first, if I'm not mistaken. Was that kind of a warm up to this? And as kind of a follow up, what actually goes into your role and responsibility, Ryan, at the Wynn whenever it comes to putting on these types of events? Like, is this just one of those things where WPT mostly slaps the name and branding and the marketing behind it, and you guys execute all of the finer details, or is this more of a collaborative effort?
Sure. So to the first point, I think coming out of COVID, we ran the first Wynn Millions, which I think was our first 10K, probably the first 10K since that wasn't like a very small field poker go style type 10K. It was a big field 10K, the Wynn Millions coming out of COVID, and that did really well because I think we might have been the first tournament back, and the first tournament back without plexiglass. Which was nice. So that really proved to us that the market was there. It put the Wynn, while players like you guys, the $1,000, $1,500, $1,600 players had probably all played events before, it put us on the map with a lot of 10K players and a lot of the higher limit players, which was great. And I would like to think that probably maybe put us on the radar with Adam and team to get us started towards the World Championship. Regarding the setup and so forth, I mean, look, Adam and the WPT team, they are incredible promoters, incredible branders. Savage has a great. You guys talk to Savage a lot. He has a good eye for what we can and can't add. But for the most part, here's how the process works. We figure out how much space and time we have. We put together a schedule. We try to create an incredible variety of events, which we've really done well this year. And then we tweak it. We'll send it to the WPT team and Savage, and they might ask for this, or this, and then we'll come to an agreement and finalize the schedule. And then from an operations standpoint, it's the Wynn team operates it, and the WPT team makes us all look good. It makes the players experience really enjoyable. From the VIP lounges and all the extra activities and the players party and things like that. Players remember that just as much as they remember, how great the tournament ran or how deep they went. So all of these things come together to just, it's really just about the experience. They all come together just to make a great couple weeks.
And it's also great to have the WPT Championship being taped at the location. I mean, it feels like the early days. We're back in 2005, and you're in the Fontana Lounge or here, but and now you're.
Or you're 6.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So that feeling to culminate this, one of the most prestigious events in all of the poker calendar, and being able to crown a WPT Championship and do it in this beautiful room here at the Wynn and bring the whole set in and recreate it is just it's magical. It feels good again. It feels like the early days of poker.
It really does feel like a great place to play and be at. Like, it's nice to be there for that amount of time. Like, oh, I'm going to the Wynn today to go play WPT stuff. It feels right.
Yeah.
Even feels good from the parking. Right? Right. The parking to the play.
Slanted arguments is too good.
That was actually going to be my next follow-up when discussing the player experience. One of the things that I appreciate the most about the WPT Championship is actually not the tournaments, believe it or not. It's the production values that you guys spare no cost at kind of displaying what the experience is for all onlookers. And what I'm wondering is, will we see a similar sort of side schedule this year with cash games? I know you guys ran some high stakes last year. You ran a ladies game as well as others. And will it be produced by Sharehands again?
Well, Ryan, you talk of the schedule, and then I will we'll go about the tape.
So yeah, I mean, definitely. We have the ladies' championship, we have the seniors' championship. A lot of great events, a lot of variety of events at different price points. I believe Sharehand is coming back, but I'll let Adam confirm that.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we'll be taping a number, or we'll be live streaming a number of events. Sharehand will be there, and we'll. I just think, again, I think Ryan has done a masterful job of getting a lot of events into a very small time, and I think this is some of the early positives that we're really hearing as the appreciation from players to be able to do this.
Burke, to your point there, I do know. I don't think they've finalized, a cash game stream schedule versus a tournament stream schedule yet, but I do know that there are plans to stream the final tables of the free roll, or the final table of the free roll, which should be really exciting.
Yes.
There's a few other things, and I don't know if I guess we could probably drop it here, but the free roll is going to have a mystery bounty component to it, which is really cool. And I can probably spill the beans, like the way that those 100 seats are going to be given away. It's kind of it's something we've talked about for years. Like, okay, how do you give a consolation prize out, right? So, long story short, 500 players in the money out of 2,000, so it's going to be roughly 25%. The goal was to spread the money out and pay back as much as we could to players who make the trip and come. And then as they bust, not only are they going to get their payout and any mystery bounties that they might have, they're going to get to go to the drum and draw for one of the 10K seats.
Oh, awesome.
Right. So
That's
basically
awesome.
there's 500 envelopes. So look, on the way out, sorry you busted 493rd place, but here's maybe get lucky and you draw a 10K seat. So
you do have a wamboozle in there, a couple wamboozles in there, right? I mean, there's zeros, right?
There's 400 zeros.
Okay, good. All right, cool.
Right.
Because there's only 100 seats.
You got to get that all on video. It's great videos.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's great to hear. The reason I asked about Sharehands is because I wasn't certain if I know that they do a lot of work with GG as well, and since you guys are running simultaneous to the winter series that's going on in quote unquote paradise, I wasn't sure if there was a fight for production the same way that there's kind of a proxy war for getting butts into seats for these events. So that kind of takes me into the next uncomfortable part of this conversation, maybe. And I only frame it that way because I think that you guys are in a really, and I don't mean you guys necessarily as WPT, but you guys as operators, because I think this holds true for GG and WSOP as well. You guys are kind of in a shitty situation where your competition is really great for us. It leads to a lot of one-upping, really bloated prize pools. We have choice now as players, which hasn't always been the case throughout the years. So I'm sure what internally is a massive negative, having to fight for dates in early December every year and determine what the prize pools are going to be, etc. From a player standpoint, it's really kind of nice, We're not all that broken up about it.
And you shouldn't be.
It doesn't keep you guys up at night like it does us.
You shouldn't be.
Right, we don't lose a lot of sleep over it.
I mean, honestly, those of us who've been around for a long time, we remember there have been years of kind of industry complacency where things haven't moved a lot or whatever, and now the things are moving, and people are every year we are every year trying to say, how do we push the envelope, what are we going to do interesting. I mean, ultimately we're writing our own narrative, but we're writing our own narrative because the WPT is forced to be a 20-year startup, right? I mean, we have to continue to do that all of the time, and again, I think that what makes us a great partner with Wynn, which is always innovating themselves. It's just always at the forefront. And so, look, it's business. If you don't want to go into a world where you are always have to kind of think of what you're going to do to live another day, that's the prize, to live another day, then you shouldn't be in business. And so good for the players, good for the players. But the answer is we're happy with what we're doing, and we focus on that. And the only thing from my team, and sure also with the Win, is that what are we going to do? How are we going to top ourselves? And what are we going to do so that we're that we walk away saying that we've done the best job. We've done the best job possible.
So that's kind of that's kind of an interesting point, I think, that I want to pull out a little bit. What is the strategy moving forward? And you don't have to divulge. Obviously, you don't want to get the competition a leg up. But I'm just curious, like, what is the strategy when you're competing for such a limited time space between Thanksgiving and Christmas, where the entire poker world is locked in, but these dates conflicting on opposite sides of the country just kind of make it impossible to play both? If we follow the timeline, this is no accident. This is clearly by design. You guys smashed the $15 million guarantee in 2022. You come back and one up yourself with the largest guaranteed prize pool, as far as I understand, in the history of poker at $40 million. And shortly thereafter, WSOP in Paradise is born, where a $25 million guarantee 5K, which again, for that buy-in level, largest guarantee of all time, happens to coincide with the same dates. This leads to you guys missing the guarantee by 1.65 million.
2.4,
which wasn't that big.
2.4. I'm excited. No one like.
Speaking of being good for players,
yeah, I guess my math was off. But like, I was at the GPI awards. Like, Jack didn't hold back. He threw a couple jabs your way in his acceptance speech of whatever fucking award it was that he won, and it's a little bit of humble pie in that instance. So I'm curious, what do we expect for 2024? Like, will there be a guarantee now that you're up against a 50 million guarantee in Paradise? What will the strategy be moving forward? Will it still be to fight for these December dates? Will it be maybe to look to position yourself early Q1 instead of late Q4? What should the players kind of expect?
Well, I mean, we both can speak to this, but I'll just say that we have, we're electing. We feel like the WPT Championship has got the momentum that we've wanted. I mean, the first year was terrific, but I'll tell you what I was worried the next year is that you always worry, like, are you going to be like Godfather 2, or are you going to be Howard the Duck 2? And so you don't know what happens. And so I think the players have spoken. We just need to focus on, are we surprising and delighting the players, and are we creating things that they continue to come back and they go, yeah, this is a great event. Now we have this incredible advantage of where else would you rather play? But that being said, where else would you rather play? That becomes a given. So then you have to continue to do things like that, like what we're doing with the biggest, free roll in history, which is going to affect all of the other things. And there'll be more surprises and things that'll come out. And that's, really what we're focusing on. And I'll say, am I bothered by the jabs here and there? Honestly, look at the business that we're in. I mean, how great is this, right? Really, if you can't take somebody, making a comment here or there, then you really should, I should go back to working at a law firm or something. So, right?
I think, last year, 3,864 entries, give or take. I think it was just under 3,000 unique players in the World Championship in the 10K. And every one of those players had a great time. They all played multiple events, right? They played Prime, which had over a $10 million prize pool, and I expect it probably will again this year. I don't know what it takes for, some of those players to choose to go somewhere else, but I think that what we're offering as far as the schedule and the experience and being at Wynn Las Vegas, potentially there's definitely going to be some players that maybe choose to not come this year, but I don't think it's a very big number. I certainly hope not. Because we put forth our best effort, and Adam and team, it's always more exciting. We're always adding more stuff, so it's just going to get bigger and better every year, regardless of guarantee or not, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to like the buy-ins and things along those lines, like the GG series in Bahamas, like a high roller buy-in event, like all the stuff there is like pretty expensive in relation to these things. But like the Prime, like at 1,100 is like always going to be great, and like all of these other events that are going on at the same time are always going to be amazing as well. So it's like, it's kind of like a different experience for where you're choosing to go.
That's
you
true.
know? So like choosing to go to the experience, it's like smaller buy-in to a degree, but also having huge things makes a lot of sense to me personally, where some people are going to feel like it's better for them EV wise as a poker player to go to the Bahamas to get in more buy-ins on stake and rack up some makeup. And other people are going to be like, oh, like I'm going to go to the Wynn and play WPT events and play other things that can also do really well for me and potentially still win a ton of money. So it's
look,
not really like a negative. And
our goal was, we jammed in, I think it's 65 events this year. We're up like almost 30% more events than last year. We learned a little bit last year. We left some spaces open. There were, some spaces that we could fill in the evenings and so forth. So we did our best this year to just jam pack the schedule, right? There's something for everybody to play. Even if you're not a 10K player, there's 1100s going opposite the 10K. There's 12 or 14 mix events. So to your point, Landon, if you're a regular poker player, a recreational player, a grinder, whatever, we don't all have $50, $75, $100,000 to make a trip somewhere else. Like this is the schedule for you, right? Because from day to day, there's going to be something to play every single day.
it felt packed last year.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more than that this year too.
A couple weeks ago, we were all in this room speculating, on like, what's the guarantee going to be? Is it going to be more than 40 million from the last year? Is it going to be less? There was a wide range of opinions, and I don't think anybody had no guarantee on the, as an option. As an option. Kind of like what went into deciding to not put a guarantee on it, and do you think that could harm the overall outcome of the entries in the event?
Yeah. So first of all, again, you get into this position that somebody is going to just say you're wrong, right? I mean, but we ultimately we feel like that the championship has the championship has settled, and people know it's a premier winter event. People want to be there to become the WPT champion. It's going to take care of itself. Mm-hmm. People are going there. They're coming here to play at the Wynn. But we want to be able to do things that are substantial. And ultimately, can you soften the guarantee because, maybe you have a little shorter schedule. Can you do this and then do some other promotion? Or can you just take a very big bet and say, you know what, the resources are not going to sit there? Because remember, with a guarantee, you might put in nothing. Yeah. I mean, that's the hope, right? Is that people are there and you put in nothing. Here, this is an investment, and this is a significant investment. Mm-hmm. But there's 2,000 entrants who's going to come and be playing. And some of those people might otherwise not be there. Some of those people might otherwise even have the opportunity to feel like they should be there. Absolutely. That's going to be pumping a lot of energy into this festival, but it's also just good for the ecology. I mean, I said it for years. I'd get baited for 10 years ago. Oh, what do you think about Poker Stars, or what do you think about this? I'm like, look, we are all dealing with the real estate in the heads of the players. That is our main competitor, right? We need to remind everybody that they actually like to play poker, mm-hmm. that it is worth their time. And so we all have a role. And even, our quote unquote competitors, we're all reminding people that it's worth it. And to your point, right now, the poker market is great. Like, people are just like, oh, okay, there's some benefits, terrific. And if that's what it takes to, keep the excitement and enthusiasm going, because we've all lived through the droughts, mm-hmm. and we don't want to go back.
That's kind of what I'm interested in is what are like the KPIs that you guys are utilizing when trying to figure out how to best get butts in seats moving forward? Okay, so we took the guarantee away. And I think that makes sense because, where does it end? They do 50 million, we do 75, they do 100. You know what I mean?
That was Burke. That was my point. Sorry, that was my point. That was like when we were speculating. It was like, I said it was going to be, if they were going to do a guarantee, then it was going to have to be at least 40 million. You can't go backwards. That's just how I think of like how business would work. Like you don't want to be like, well, 40 million last year, and then now we're going to do 20 or 30 million because that looks like you're taking a step back. So just like not having one, and like look at the main event in the summer of the WSOP. It doesn't have a guarantee, but people know that it's going to be a big prize pool and they show up for it. And I think that's kind of what you guys are trying to convey.
100%. We want to feel like we are continuing to have that opportunity to do things that, again, surprise and delight. I mean, we did the WPT Voyage, right? I mean, that kind of surprised me. Right after that, they were taking an entire cruise ship. And I think at the beginning, people are like, what is this? Afterwards, people are like, why wasn't I on it? This was the greatest thing. But we want to be able to do that. You got to marshal resources and you got to take some big bets. And this is it.
I do think a good idea is having like satellite winners as well, because I think that does like fuel some other people to play the event that might not otherwise. Where it's like, oh, like some people are playing a 10K and now as a poker player that wants to get value, like there's some value here for me too. Which didn't come from someone that was playing it came from someone that was playing a free roll, which got free value, but then people that might not play the tournament will get value from them getting value of the tournament. Yeah, there's going
to be 100 entries in the 10K that just came from a free roll.
So look, I mean, last year we satellited in live satellites just under 500 players. We had 12 satellites. They were massive, right? So if we take that 500, we're now adding in the 100 players from the free roll. We have Club GG, we have Global, we have partners all around.
Club WPT.
Sorry, what did I say? Sorry. Somebody edited that.
Got them on in post.
But look, MSPT has been running satellites and so forth. So look, 1,000 satellite entries and/or qualifiers, however you want to look at it, is within the realm this year. It's probably going to be closer to maybe 800, but it could stretch to 1,000. That's a lot of players. That's $10 million in the prize pool right there. And just speaking towards the guarantee a little bit, look, we could have done some things. We only have 3 starting days this year. The calendar's a little bit shorter. The ballroom space is a little bit shorter. Putting the schedule together was a little bit trickier because of those factors. But look, we could have made it unlimited reentry. We could have had day 2. Could have had day 2 entry, and that just doesn't align with what WPT and we stand for, right? Like freeze out per flight is a very good middle ground where all of these satellite players, they have a chance. Everybody has a chance.
Marisol will be happy.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the right thing to do. Would it have been easy to have day 2 reg and tweak the structure and things like that? Yeah, of course. And then maybe we could have, put a guarantee on it because we weren't, wouldn't be quite as worried. But, it's just better off this way because now, like you said, we don't have to compete on this going forward. We're going to have, all those 3,000 unique entries that came last year should hopefully turn up again. We're going to increase the satellite players, and we're going to have a great event just like last year.
The tournament feels more pure, I guess, when you cut down the late reentry time and the day 2s.
I hate day 2 reentry. I don't know why. I just never liked it.
I actually think this is very sharp by you guys. I feel like you're testing the loyalty of your consumers that you have. And I feel like you guys feel like you have put in a lot to the consumer base, and now you're testing to see what comes back. And I think, honestly, as a player, I know I love WPT brand and Wynn brand, and I love coming to these events. So I think it's actually going to work out very well for you guys. Excited to see what goes on.
Yeah, there's going to be new chairs.
Yeah, and new chairs.
In the poker room in the immediate tournament area. Unfortunately, the ballroom chairs are still going to be the nice new banquet chairs, but I don't want to oversell it.
Well, let's speak more about chairs.
So Conrad mentioned something there that I actually I don't know if I disagree with it, but I think it's maybe a little bit more fragile than he's indicating, because the fact of the matter is, us consumers, our loyalties are very, very weak and fragile. We're just going to chase EV for the most part, and that's not to say that people who have a great experience won't come back. Of course, they're more apt to. If they had a pleasurable trip and it's easy, rooms are cheaper, affordable, whatever. Like that's always going to be, part of the decision making process. But at the end of the day, like we're hopeful to make money, so we're always going to go where the money leads us. And that's kind of what I was starting to ask is like, what KPIs do you guys utilize whenever you're trying to build this out moving forward? Because you mentioned the voyage, and I think that's a great example of an experience that it's clear that the number one focus is player experience, right? Like it was shared all over social. You created a ton of FOMO. I was on that cruise ship. I'm not a big cruise fan. It was a wonderful time. And,
it was awesome.
The best time I've ever had.
Awesome.
I had
Honestly, it was
so much fun. I didn't know what to think about like going into it. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life.
Run it back.
Absolutely.
Right. So like something like the voyage is so much more about the actual experience itself and so much less about the poker. The poker is just a secondary function. The WPT Championship, there's a lot of room for both. So I'm kind of interested where your attention gets turned. Is it trying to lure players to the property because of just sheer value adds like satellite players, guarantees, whatever? Or is it, a combination of things where it's like, hey, look, we have the best production team in the business right now. We're highlighting all these other avenues, including cash games, special meetup games, ladies events, things of that nature. Where do you guys put the biggest, or where do you invest the most of your resources, I guess, now moving forward?
Well, I mean, I took Conrad's point as, we've been setting up this franchise in a way that people people have come to, expect something, so that they know when they come to the Wynn, they come to the WPT Championship, that they're going to have a certain experience. That experience actually is very important to us because. Remember the WPT. I'm sorry, I have meta glasses, so I have people talking to me on it.
Not allowed at the poker table.
I know. Ryan's going to take them away from me now.
right now.
But we have experiences that people come to expect. For the WPT, the WPT's model, we're a branding company, right? We want people to come out. We know that. For the WPT, the championship will always be an investment. It will always be an investment. It is the, it's the headquarters store on Rodeo Drive or whatever it is. And you're not trying to sit there and say, oh, how am I eking out, X amount from this? What you're doing is that's your celebration. That's where you give back to players. There's other ways that you do it, but it is important. I mean, look, we're combining Club WPT Gold with this, and that will allow us to build a platform, hopefully together with a community that continues to sustain things. And if we do that, then we can continue to do these fun things. And I think that's, if you look at the change in the last 5 years of the WPT model, that is our biggest change, is that we finally figured out like where we have to invest so that we can come back. And as the players get something, then the players show loyalty in many areas, and then they come back, and then we can continue to do more and more. And so that's what this promotion is about. And what we're going to be looking for is awareness. I want everybody to be aware of Club WPT Gold because it's a significant sponsor here it's contributing to this. But I also want them to recognize that. WPT will continue to do great things with Wynn and Wynn Resort, so that you can know that if you want to mark your calendar in the wintertime for our event, you're going to have something, and it's always going to be great, and we're always going to try to do something new and fun, and you can bank on that.
I mean, like, it seems like for the most part, the big part of the player base doesn't play super high stakes tournaments, and everyone that does go has a bunch of fun going. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. And I mean, look, that's one of the major KPIs, right? Is let's look at unique entries across the whole spectrum. It's not just the World Championship, the 10K. Like, how many players do we bring in that that are going to play the 600s and the 1100s? Because that's important, right? And that builds the vibe, that builds the experience, that fuels the satellites. And that's why we just tried to jam in so many of those events this year. That we could, as many as we could operationally, because that's gonna create the flow for the whole event. And those are the players that we're looking for, and that's really how I will measure it, I think.
We need we need to continually have people who are just on the edge, right? I don't know. Would I play? Would I go to? We need those people to be feeding into the system so that we have a healthy ecology. 2,000 seats is going to contribute to that a lot, right? There is a lot of people who are going to have experiences here that they would otherwise not going to be able to have. And maybe even they do play, they play great players, but they're going to come, they're going to have a little extra cash because they got this free roll. They're going to come in and have fun. And that is, that's important because ultimately this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. We're going to be here for a very long time at Wynn Resort. And we're going to be building this franchise over a very long time. And so we have to not be just thinking about what is the results this year, but what's the results over many years.
Yeah, poker tournaments have been booming these recent years. Yeah. And it's nice to see that that's going to probably keep staying the case. So it's almost like like 1 year is 1 year, but what happens in 10 or 15 or 20?
I thought you were a cash game player now.
I'm both,
Fridays and Saturdays.
I'm mostly like a cash guy, but like I'll go to WPT events and go play them. Of course.
He's a 5'10", Win 5'10", big blind any reg now.
Yeah. I need to get those new chairs though.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of new chairs, I got to say, one of the greatest things about this podcast is that these earphones cover my massive ears. Whoever designed this is just brilliant.
There for you.
All right, I've one last question with regards to everything that goes into this major event and everything, and then I'll turn it over to the boys to close this out. But I'm interested, as you mentioned many times, WPT has pretty much bootstrapped all the way from the early days, way back in 2003, maybe even 2002 when you guys first kicked off. And it seems to be that never-ending process, right? Like you kind of, Adam alluded to the fact that it's a 20-year startup, right? And for anybody who's tried to start something, that resonates. You know what it means to feel like you're always just starting from scratch year over year, in spite of the fact that you've scaled at this point, probably 100x from your first year. I'm curious what direction you think that the growth metrics are shifting in the community compared to, say, the early to mid 2000s, when it comes to marketing. Poker's not as much on TV as it used to be in the past. So is this more grassroots? How do you lean on the community itself to kind of, help build the brand? I think about the stuff that we do here on the pod and with the company and where we end up aligning ourselves. It's we want to be a part of everything, of course. But we're only one tiny little fragment of the community. I wonder how much you guys, build out corporate marketing as opposed to more grassroots stuff where you're leaning on creators and influencers within the space.
Yeah, well, I think the creators and the influencers are going to be immensely important, but not just because it's getting the hardcore player, but it is, again, there's so much different alternatives of what you could do with spending your time. And what we look, I see data all the time on, we're aired on 92 networks. And so the World Poker Tour is aired more than it has ever been. So I got data all of the time. And you realize there is something about, the schedule that Ryan has put together and what is happening with this WPT Gold free roll and how that's pushing into the championship is right at the space we want to be. Because we want those players who go, yeah, you know what, if I do come back, I probably can put $1,000 or something like that. I can do that. That is sustainable. That's sustainable. We can see that, but we need to, as in a community, we need to remind people, yeah, come in. We'll make it good for you. We'll, you won't just come here and it won't just be you just won't be killed the moment that you arrive. You're going to be able to have a great poker experience, and then you're going to have the aspirational things like you might be the person who becomes the WPT Championship champion at the WPT Championship, get your name on the Mike Sexton's Champions Cup. So as long as we're hitting that space, I think we have many years to go. And to me, I think it's very exciting because I just think, when I look at how media has changed, we used to have, in the early 2003, 2004, that one hit on Travel Channel would make everything. It would make all the difference, right? And it made all the difference from the online sites. And now you look at what influencers do, because people want community, and you know, they're going to follow an influencer or a podcaster, ambassador, because they want to come as a community. And what I love is that they oftentimes come together and they find other things to do. So that's going to be very important. And it's going to continue to be very important.
Seems great. I think Conrad has a question for you guys.
Yeah, I kind of just want to give Ryan his flowers and also just let him speak about the recent security changes you guys made at the Wynn. Like, for example, one of them being no devices allowed at the final table.
I'm going to put these right.
Yeah, so I think it was about a week into June. You know, and this is something we've been struggling with for quite some time. I think I remember the first Win Millions that we ran. You know, we set up that big back VIP area with a single table, and we put seating around it, right? Mm-hmm. And it was no sooner that the tournament started where they started showing up with the laptops, you know, and that was, I mean, what was that now, 3-4 years ago, right? So, you know, we've always done our best to remove those sort of electronic devices and laptops and so forth from the crowd, because we just felt like the coaching aspect was unfair. And then this year, you know, coming into June, we decided, look, final table, we're just going to take all the electronic devices off, just like you would at a stream table, right, for security reasons. Mm-hmm. Just because, just the risk of people having communication devices, you know, wearing earpieces, you know, disguised, you know, everybody's wearing earbuds, right? So we've taken the earbuds off, we've taken the phones away. You know, no problem with somebody getting up and using their phone away from the table. But just for the security of especially those final tables and really the coaching aspect, we decided it was the best thing to do. Okay. That was kind of an on the fly, you know, type thing. We just decided to do that spur of the moment, and we kept it all the way through the summer months. And then we really went and wrote a more comprehensive set of rules as far as what's allowed and what's not allowed, you know, to the point where we're, you know, really concerned about earbuds, you know, because in my opinion, people are on live calls. You know, specifically when they get down to, you know, maybe the redraw, maybe 27 players or something like that. So we've taken the electronic devices off definitely at the final tables, but at any time where we feel like, you know, there's security risk or integrity risk, mm-hmm. we'll go ahead and take the electronic devices off. And that also includes, you know, policing the rails, you know, specifically at final tables. The same rules are going to apply to the people on the rails as far as if they're using you know, strat charts or things like that, and then trying to communicate that to people. Right at that point, we will remove them from the audience, just because it's just not fair. Just too much of an advantage at that point.
Nice. I think it's nice. I think it's sick. Yeah. It's like, I think the people that were call it from the WSOP FT, like having like call it hashtag laptop on rail or whatever.
Laptop gate.
Laptop gate. Now that there's like clear rules as to what isn't allowed, it's very understandable and it's black and white, right? Having black and white rules like that makes it easy to like not be able to game the system. Because with like a gray area, it's like, well, this is allowed, but this isn't. And now having what like these strict set of rules makes it so the people that are doing that stuff know that they just can't anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look, nobody's ever told them they can't do it. You know, exactly. It's been going on for years. You know, specifically at that final table. So, you know, now hopefully as an industry, you know, whether we're first or I know PokerStars is doing some great stuff over there, and Kenny Howard's kind of you know, advising them on some of that stuff. You know, if we can get all on the same page, I mean, our new set of rules are listed. Like, I would hope that some people might, you know, maybe Savage and the TDA look at them for the next time. I know that's a couple of years away, but I think that by the time we get to the next TDA in 2 years, you know, I think a lot of places will have already adopted this, because it's something that needs to happen to protect those final table players.
Seems great to me, just because like in the middle of the tournament, you probably shouldn't be able to have access to extra information that someone doesn't.
And look, the you know, the cell phone use at the table, look, like Berkey says and everybody says, like, we're never going to stop cell phone use. We understand that. It's unrealistic and kind of unfair. You know, it's like people want to be on their cell phones. You know, but what we can do is really make sure that we're paying attention to what people are looking at. And players help us pay attention too. You know, you have 8 other players at the table, or you have players at the table next to them, and they turn around, they see a chart, they go, "Hey man, that guy's using a chart." We go over, we basically give them one warning. I think we gave 2 or 3 penalties this recently in like July. You know, you tell people once and then they follow the rules. You know, because it's just it's new. They haven't known that they can't do that. So now that they do know, we'll give them one warning, and if they do it again, it's a penalty, and then we'll move on from there.
I have a quick question for Adam.
Go ahead, Guap.
film school, right? USC undergrad?
Yes.
Quentin Tarantino or Francis Ford Coppola, and why is your answer Quentin Tarantino?
Well, I don't know. He made a reference to the Godfather.
I will say I do think Godfather 2 is probably the greatest movie of all time. But I will give you the answer that you want to why Quentin Tarantino. So when the World Poker Tour started, it started in this office that was originally the office of Douglas Fairbanks, Mary Pickford, and Charlie Chaplin.
Wow.
And it was called The Lot. And it was very old at the time, and there were rats and other things that were there in it. But the two great things that I remember from that is there was a place across the street called Jones Restaurant, and I would go there, and Quentin Tarantino would go there with his buddies, and they'd just be like brainstorming stuff, and he was just so wonderfully weird that that it was great. And then the other thing that I will never forget, which is I had the office next to Charlize Theron.
Oh, wow. Okay. Congratulations.
So, yes, that was pretty good. But yeah, I love Quentin.
I'll give you guys some insight. Every time I see Adam, he's like, "Yeah, I just got back from so and so," and there's always some sort of movie star's name associated with. I was hanging out with so and so. Like I'm not gonna dox him or them, but it's like I'm the life you lead, man.
That's funny.
That's great.
Anyway,
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Really appreciate you guys for coming in and spending so much time on this. Mainly because I don't really think that anybody has to actually be so forward facing with regards to, how you plan to attack this stuff. So I think from the community as a whole, I could speak and say that like, we appreciate this type of stuff. We appreciate the communication that Ryan's always open to when it comes to security and prevention and things of that nature. And, from my perspective as a live guy who spends way too many hours in a casino, across the board, I will say that like Las Vegas is one of the best run industries when it comes to gambling and how receptive people are to working with the customers at high stakes, at least, in order to prevent games from going south. So big kudos to you for getting it right over there, for setting some precedents and for things moving in the right direction. Big shout out to Adam and everything that you guys are doing at WPT. I hope to see the Winter Series continue to be a success. I have to tell you, I was positive that I wasn't going to leave Vegas because I absolutely hate travel, but I don't know. I don't know now. there's so many cash games. Like I never thought it would get to the point where like as a cash player, it's not clear where I should go, but it's a little bit more unique for me because it's such high stakes, right? Like
just took Uzbekistan to open your eyes.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to fly halfway across the world in order to double the stakes. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah. But no, there's like a 90% probability you're going to see me at the Wynn. So as always, appreciate you guys taking your time coming so in much. And that's going to do it for us here. I'll be back Friday, I think we'll all be back Friday.
We'll be back Friday.
Platt and Hanks are going to be in studio. We're going to be coming with a Weekend Warrior wrap up from last week, as well as giving you our super sharp picks. By the way, I just want to say half of us are winning. One of them not being Conrad.
Wait, what are you talking about? You not know how to read? Another time you just don't know how to read, my friend.
Oh my
God! We're above 1,000.
Yeah, Conrad is winning.
What you talking about?
He had that big win in week 2. Didn't do so good in week 3.
That's right.
Yeah, when he won out.
You'll learn how to read. It's okay, bud.
That's right. I'm sorry. Apologies. I got you confused with Hanks, who's going to do the milk mile.
Open spots for you guys if you're interested.
Be sure to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate you guys. Leave any comments or questions you may have for Adam and the crew below. We'll be back Friday. Be sure to tune in then. We'll be, I think, noon Pacific. So tune in at that time. Thank you guys so much.
Later, squad.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.